The sun beat down on the turquoise waters of the Red Sea, casting a shimmering glow that danced across the surface like liquid glass. The sea was calm, almost unnaturally so, as if holding its breath in anticipation. A gentle breeze ruffled the American flag flying high above the USS Harry S. Truman, its stars and stripes fluttering with quiet pride. The ship stood as a floating fortress, a symbol of American resolve and presence in a region fraught with tension. On deck, sailors moved with practiced precision, their every step a reflection of months, if not years, of rigorous training. Each task, no matter how routine, was executed with a sense of purpose. From aircraft handlers to lookouts, every crew member played a vital role in the ship's daily rhythm. Below deck, the hum of machinery filled the air as mechanics worked tirelessly to keep the ship's aircraft in peak condition. Every bolt tightened, every system checked, was a safeguard against the unknown. Meanwhile, on the bridge, officers pored over intelligence feeds, satellite imagery, and encrypted communications, piecing together a picture of the region's shifting dynamics. To the casual observer, it was just another routine day at sea for the U.S. Navy's most powerful aircraft carrier. But beneath the surface of this apparent normalcy, a quiet tension simmered, an awareness that peace in these waters was always fragile, always temporary. They had no idea they were about to face an unprecedented threat, a threat that would test their training, their resolve, and their unity in ways they had never imagined. The serenity of the scene belied the strategic importance of the location. These waters, though tranquil, were a geopolitical fault line, where global interests collided and rival powers watched each other with wary eyes. The Truman, flanked by its escort ships, wasn't merely cruising. It was part of a carrier strike group conducting a high-stakes patrol through one of the world's most vital maritime choke points, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This narrow corridor, just 20 miles wide at its narrowest point, is a lifeline for global commerce. Every day, millions of barrels of oil and countless tons of cargo pass through this strait, connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden and the vast Indian Ocean beyond. It is a gateway between continents, a bottleneck through which the pulse of global trade flows. But with such importance comes vulnerability. The Bab el-Mandeb is not just a trade route, it's a target. A single act of aggression here could ripple across the globe, disrupting supply chains, spiking energy prices, and igniting international conflict. That's why the Truman was here, not just to patrol but to deter, to reassure allies, and to remind adversaries that the sea lanes would remain open and secure. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a narrow but vital maritime passage, is flanked by Yemen on one side, and Djibouti and Eritrea on the other. This slender waterway connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, serving as a critical artery for global trade. For decades, it has been a hotbed of geopolitical tension, a flashpoint where regional instability meets global interests. The strait is not just a strategic choke point, it's a pressure cooker of competing powers, military posturing, and fragile alliances. The ongoing civil war in Yemen has only intensified the volatility. With multiple factions vying for control, including Houthi rebels and foreign-backed militias, the region has become a battleground not just for territory but for influence. Every day, massive oil tankers and commercial vessels pass through this narrow corridor, carrying millions of barrels of crude oil and essential goods. For the West, this is a lifeline. Any disruption here could send shockwaves through global markets. To safeguard these waters, the United States deployed the USS Harry S. Truman, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. Its presence was meant to project strength, to reassure allies, and to deter any hostile action. But even with its advanced radar systems and elite crew, the Truman was not prepared for what was coming. A new kind of threat was emerging, one that didn't announce itself with the roar of jet engines or the silhouette of a warship. Instead, it came silently, from the sky, small, nimble, and nearly invisible to traditional defense systems: drones. These unmanned aerial vehicles began appearing on the horizon, probing the fleet's defenses. But these weren't the high-tech, satellite-guided drones used by superpowers. These were low-cost, commercially available quadcopters, easily purchased online and easily modified. Armed with improvised explosives and guided by GPS, these drones had been repurposed into deadly weapons. Their small size made them hard to detect, and their low-altitude flight paths allowed them to slip past traditional radar systems. For the crew of the Truman, this marked a turning point. The battlefield was no longer defined by massive fleets or air superiority. It was now about agility, adaptability, and the ability to counter threats that cost a fraction of traditional weapons. In response, the Navy scrambled to deploy counter-drone systems, electronic jammers, signal disruptors, and even kinetic interceptors. But the message was clear: the rules of engagement were changing, and the enemy no longer needed a Navy to challenge one. The first sign of trouble came on April 1, 2025. What began as a routine patrol in the Pacific quickly escalated into a defining moment for modern naval warfare. An alert flashed across the screens in the Truman's Combat Information Center, a nerve center deep within the aircraft carrier where every second counts. Inside, sailors worked with laser focus, monitoring a vast array of sensors, satellite feeds, and encrypted communications. The room buzzed with urgency, a synchronized dance of technology and human precision. A small, unidentified contact appeared on radar, flying low, fast, and directly toward the carrier. It was the kind of anomaly that triggered immediate concern. The object was quickly identified as a drone, sleek, agile, and armed. Intelligence later confirmed it was carrying high-grade explosives, designed for a single purpose: destruction. Without hesitation, the Truman's advanced defense systems roared to life. Years of investment in cutting-edge military technology were about to be put to the ultimate test. Electronic warfare specialists sprang into action, their mission: to jam the drone's communication links and scramble its navigation systems before it could reach striking distance. The electronic countermeasures hit their mark. The drone, now blind and disoriented, began to wobble mid-air, its flight path erratic and uncontrolled. But the threat wasn't over. The drone, though compromised, was still airborne and dangerously close. Every eye in the command center was locked on the radar screen. As a final safeguard, the carrier's close-in weapon system known as CIWS was activated. This automated Gatling gun, capable of firing thousands of rounds per minute, locked onto the target with chilling precision. In a thunderous burst, the CIWS opened fire. Tracer rounds lit up the sky as the drone was torn apart mid-air, erupting in a fiery explosion that sent debris raining harmlessly into the sea. The immediate danger had passed. On the deck, sailors exhaled in relief, but the mood remained tense. The attack had been stopped, but it was a sobering wake-up call. This wasn't just a test of firepower, it was a test of coordination, speed, and digital warfare. The seamless integration of human decision-making and automated defense had made the difference. In the hours that followed, commanders pored over data, analyzing every second of the encounter. Lessons were learned, protocols refined, and readiness elevated. The Truman's response was a triumph of technology, a glimpse into the future of naval combat, where artificial intelligence, electronic warfare, and human expertise converge to defend against threats that evolve by the day. As the sun set over the Pacific, the crew stood vigilant. The battle had been won, but the war for technological superiority was just beginning. The very next day, April 2nd, the enemy struck again, this time with greater numbers and more determination. Multiple drones, launched from an unknown location, converged on the Truman from different directions, attempting to overwhelm the carrier's defenses. This was no longer a random act, it was a coordinated attack. The Truman's escort ships, Arleigh Burke-class destroyers equipped with advanced radar and missile defense systems, sprang into action. Guided by the Truman's air controllers, the destroyers unleashed a barrage of surface-to-air missiles, intercepting several drones before they could pose a significant threat. At the same time, F/A-18E and F Super Hornets, the carrier's air superiority fighters, scrambled from the Truman's deck, their afterburners blazing as they raced to intercept the remaining drones. The sky above the carrier transformed into a deadly ballet of high-speed intercepts, with American firepower effectively neutralizing the multi-pronged drone attack. While the technological prowess of the U.S. Navy was on full display during the attacks, it was the human element. The unwavering discipline and seamless coordination of the sailors on board the Truman and its escort ships that proved decisive. From the radar operators who first detected the incoming threats to the fire control technicians who unleashed the ship's defenses, every sailor played a critical role in repelling the attack. The pressure was immense, the stakes incredibly high, yet the sailors of the Truman Strike Group never faltered. They trained relentlessly for scenarios like this, and their rigorous drills and unwavering focus paid off. The attacks, while unsuccessful, served as a stark reminder of the importance of constant vigilance, and the critical role that human judgment and expertise play in even the most technologically advanced warships.